Theruvan Saranai. Let's talk about why Buddhism. Why do you want the Buddha? Why do you want the Dhamma and the Sangha? And why are you gathered here? What do you expect from this sermon? And what do you expect from your Anagarika life, Sirasravika life, Upasaka life? What are the reasons? We need to find out about that. Is this the truth that you practice or that you have been practicing so far? Do you know about that? These are the questions. Do you know that you practice the truth? Are you sure about that? Otherwise, perhaps you will waste your time, like you have been wasting. If you found the truth, you will be free. Otherwise, you will be stuck in samsara. You will be stuck in your own jail. You will create your own jail and you will be stuck there. Therefore, we need to find the truth. We need to find the truth means, actually we need to understand the truth. We need to understand and clarify. We need to know that that is the truth. And how can we do that? That's the other problem. How do we know that this is the truth? I can tell anything. I can tell that I am someone. I am God. How do you know that? I can tell that if you want to attain Nibbana, you need to climb a mountain. Perhaps Adam's Peak, you need to climb and you worship 3 times, then you will become an Arahant. You can believe that also, because I say so. But don't do that. If you are not sure about what you are doing, don't ever practice. The other thing is you can't practice. You can say that you are practicing, but you can't practice, nothing happened. But if you practice wrong path, then your problem will be even more strengthened. Therefore, I want you to make sure that you know the truth. The only way to know about it is you need to apply that into your life. You need to apply that into your life experiences. That is the only thing that you can know and that you can experience. You can't apply the truth into my life experiences, and understand the truth. Therefore, you need to understand about your experiences and understand the Dhamma, which means the truth, that you have been told, and make sure that that's the truth. Let's assume that you apply the Dhamma to your life, but still you can't understand that. Still you can't understand, therefore you don't practice. Then again you need to listen to the Dhamma. One day you will realize, and one day you will be able to apply the Dhamma into your life like a duck to water. Then practicing the path will be very easy. Until that, you will feel that it's so hard. And most of the time you forget to practice. That's why we had to tell over and over again, please practice, practice. Put these things into your life situations, practice. We have to tell all these things because you always forget to practice. You forget that. Perhaps you don't understand it. Because you know that if you have understood something, actually you can't forget. You don't have to remember if you know the truth. There is a saying, if you tell the truth, you don't have to remember it. Perhaps you forget the truth. If you forget the truth, actually the truth is in your mind, not in your wisdom. It's knowledge. You have knowledge because you have heard the Dhamma, many sermons, English, Sinhalese, and whatever the language you know. There are many sermons. Then you listen to the Dhamma, and now you have knowledge, perhaps necessary knowledge. But until you practice it, until you realize it with your life, you have to remember that. That's why perhaps you feel that this is so hard. Perhaps you have a fear of losing it, forgetting it. That's why I urge you to apply the Dhamma as soon as possible into your life, and all the time into your life. Then convert your knowledge to wisdom. When you have wisdom, now you can practice vidarshana. To practice vidarshana, you don't need to read a book to practice vidarshana. You don't need to go to a jungle to practice vidarshana. Wherever you are, whatever you do, is very useful to practice vidarshana. But the problem is, the most important part is, do you have wisdom that is required to practice vidarshana? That's the most important thing, not the place you reside, or not the person whom you lived with. The only thing is, do you have wisdom? Did you convert your knowledge to wisdom? When you have wisdom, it's like your eyes. You can use your eyes to see the world whenever, wherever you want. Therefore, let's create these eyes. These eyes are very special. These eyes are very special. That is called vidarshana. You need to develop that. To develop vidarshana, let's acquire some knowledge again, because you came here to listen to the Dhamma, and I'm really sorry, I can't offer you prajna, which means wisdom. I only can give some knowledge again. That's the hardest part, ladies and gentlemen. If I want you to want to attain Nibbana, that's good. But if I expect you to attain Nibbana, and if I push you, it doesn't work. I can give a lot of knowledge. If you take this knowledge And if you can try to convert this to wisdom, then definitely you will win. And we always talk about the purpose of this sermon and your presence. You are so lucky, I'm telling you, because actually you want to attain Nibbana. You want to attain Nibbana means actually you want to do something in your life rather than wasting it. You want to achieve something. You want to achieve something unbreakable. Whatever you have achieved so far can be easily destroyed by anyone. And finally, you will die. That means your death will destroy everything, what you have earned, what you have acquired. Then finally, you have to die empty-handed. Nobody will be there for you. You will be so alone. And perhaps you think that Puttamati, Dhanamati. Perhaps you think that I have my children, they are well educated and well off. They will protect me. I have them. My younger son is always with me. And his wife is a good lady. All these things. I have a good education. Perhaps you think all these things. No, I have this and I have that. I have this, I have that. All these things. Actually, by thinking that, you try to feel better. I have this, I have that. My life is not a waste. I have achieved something. I have acquired something. Look at me. I have all this. You have participated in funerals. You have seen people died, and after that, nobody talks about them. They die. And to make up your mind, perhaps you can think that, oh, he went to heaven, now he is with God. Whoever died will be in heaven, and now they are with God, therefore we don't have to worry about that. Let me live, after that I will also go to heaven and live with God. You can think like that and make up your mind, ladies and gentlemen, but I think you know that this is a risk you are going to take. Can you prove that you will go to heaven after your death? Can you prove that? Can you prove that you won't go to hell after your death? Haven't you committed any sin in your life? If you believe that if you commit a sin, there is a tendency, there is a possibility to go to heaven or to go to hell. There is a possibility. And will you take that risk? I'm not talking about go to a desert, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, I'm talking about go to hell and stay there for eons. If you don't believe in heaven and hell, then we have to use another tactic. You tell me where you want to go, because people want to believe that something good will happen to them. That's why people talk about heaven. Most of the time they talk about heaven. They don't talk about hell because they don't like hell. People always talk about happiness because they don't like suffering. They don't like suffering and lamentation and all these negative things. Therefore, people want to be happy, and they always talk. When they talk to you, they talk about happiness. Are you happy? Normally, they don't ask, are you sad? Very rarely they ask, but are you happy? Happy? Because you want to talk about these things. Perhaps you have been told that you need to talk about positive things. Then you will have a positive life. Of course, you can be deceived by talking about positive things, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not saying that it's better to talk negative things, but what I'm talking about is, if you talk about positive things, that doesn't mean that you have a positive life. You can wear a smile at any time. You just need to do this. Stretch your facial muscles. Then other people think that you are laughing. And you have a smile, and they think that, because they interpret it. When I laugh, I'm not smiling with you. I just did that. I stretched these muscles. Then you interpreted that I'm happy. Because you want to believe that I'm happy. Because you want to believe that you are happy. You always expect you to be happy because you are not happy. You always practice something to be happy. You always want to listen to music and good things, positive things. You want to read good books because you want to be happy. When you want to be happy and when you try to be happy by doing all these things, ladies and gentlemen, it says that you are not happy and you are trying to be happy. That means your happiness will be in future. At this moment, you can't be happy because you have an expectation to be happy. Therefore, my humble request for you is, don't try to be happy. Don't try to do anything to make yourself happy. That means, if you want to go on holiday, please go, that's fine. But don't try to be happy by going on holiday. If you really want to be happy, there is a path. There is only one path. Ekaino ayam bhikkave maggo sattanam visuddhya. The Buddha said that. There is only one path. There is only one path. If you can practice that path, then you will be happy. Actually I can't say you will be happy. Actually, you will be neutral. If you can achieve that, then you will be nature. If you can be nature, then you are everywhere and you are everything. When you are everything, you don't have to change anything and you are okay with everything. You are okay with death. You are okay with birth. You are okay with changing things because you don't feel that things are changing. But right now you see that your body is changing, your body is aging. You feel that you don't want that to happen. You feel that you are aging and you don't want it. Therefore you don't like changes. You don't like changes because you can't be the change. Because you feel that you are an entity. When you are an entity and you don't want to change anything around you. Or if you believe that some change is good for you, then you try to change that. Then the other one, you want that to stay still, stay the same. In that case, ladies and gentlemen, you have to control the universe. When it is raining, perhaps you don't want, because you don't have the umbrella with you. Then you don't want rain, or you don't want raining. Therefore, you try to change the universe. That's why you have prayers in your mind. Oh, please God, please, 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 please. I'm not insulting to God or that belief. What I'm saying is, you are not okay with things because you are a separate entity, ladies and gentlemen. It is created in you. It is created in you and you always believe that you are a separate entity. When you believe that, you can't come out of that. That is the jail you have created. You feel that you are an entity and you always feed. You always feed that. When you feed that, you always feel that you are you are an entity. Then you have to maintain your entity from your birth to death. Then again you will be born, and again you have to maintain that. That doesn't matter whether you are a human being or animal being. You can be a human being or an animal being, ant being, elephant being, whatever being, because if you feel that you are a being, then you can be everywhere like a being. But if you are nature, you are not an entity, but being is an entity. When you say a human being, now you can see that it has some boundaries, because you are a human being. Because then if you are a human being, can you be a cat right now? If you are a human being, can you be a cat? No. Therefore, you can't see yourself in a cat. But if you are nature, you can be in a cat. You can be in a tree. You can be in a waterfall. Then you don't have to see a waterfall, because you are the waterfall. I know this is a little bit poetic, but actually this is the truth. If you can understand the reality, then you will realize that you are everywhere. When you witness a waterfall, actually that waterfall is you. You are in waterfall. Because you are in waterfall, waterfall is in you, because you are nature. If you are nature, you don't have a shape. If you are nature, actually you don't have a shape. What is the shape of nature, ladies and gentlemen? Just tell me. What is the shape of nature? You can create shapes. You can create shapes. And by saying that, this is a tree, then you might think that this is a tree. Then this is nature. Of course, this is nature, but don't take this shape. Take energy that is used to create this, or create or manifest this. This manifests by using energy. That basic energy is nature. Electron is made up of that energy. Proton is made up of that energy. Your mind is made up of that energy. All the atoms, all the ions, all the molecules, all the compounds, all these things are made up of that energy. Therefore, that's energy we are talking about, and that's nature. When we talk about nature, don't ever think that we are talking about trees and wild animals, waterfalls, rivers, oceans. We are not talking about all these things. Because those things are entities again to in your mind. Because you think that, this is a river, this is a river, and this is a tree. There is a river and this is a tree. Then there are two different entities. That's how you feel. That's how you feel because you identify this one as an entity. You identify this one as an entity as well. That happens due to your defilements. When you wear a blue color pair of spectacles, then you will see everything blue color. Everything blue, everything. Wherever you see, that's blue, that's blue. Then when you wear an ignorant pair of spectacles, that's a new one. It is free. It's free. You don't have to spend money for that. Everyone has it. If you want, you can lend. If you have that pair of spectacles, then definitely you will see the world like entities. Because when you feel that you are an entity, that's your mindset, ladies and gentlemen. That's your understanding. When you have that understanding, then you always use that because actually whatever you see is okay. That's right, that's correct, that's the truth. But after you see something, your mind interprets it. Your mind interprets it. Therefore, the mind sees illusions. That's why you can see a tree here. Again, sorry, not see, you can perceive a tree as a separate entity. That's why you have a tree and a river. When you have a tree and a river, now you have a choice. Because when you have a tree, when you see or when you perceive a tree, that's special because it is separated from other things, because it's a tree. And this is a river, and it is also separate. If it is separate, if it is an entity, then it is special. Now I give you two choices. What do you want to see? A river or a tree? Now you have to think about it. Because both of them are special, both of them are unique. Both of them are entities. Therefore, you need to choose. That's why you try to visit to the river or to see the tree. Let's assume that the energy we were talking about, the basic energy, this tree is nothing but the basic energy. This river is also the same. What do you want to see now? Now you can see that you have a choice when you see everything as entities. When you see means actually when you perceive. When you perceive things as entities, then you have a choice. Then you choose and see. When you perceive that again, then you think that it is separate. It is separate and it's an entity. Then it will strengthen your ignorance. Because you believe that everything is an entity. When you believe that, you will perceive entities. When you perceive entities, you always have choices. When you have choices, then you go for that. Then your life will be so busy. But you try to achieve serenity in your life, but your life is so busy, and especially your mind is so busy because it has choices and it tries to choose things. Like if you want to get married, you have to choose. You take some photos and you choose. This, no. Why? You have to choose. You are not happy with the first one. You are not happy with the second one. Perhaps you are happy with the third one. You are happy with the third one. You chose it. And again you think that the third one is very special than others. Again, you can see the first one, you called it actually first one. First one means, again, this is an entity. This is an entity, that's the second one. This is the third one, it is also an entity. And this is so special. And these things are also special. But this is so special, therefore let me take her. That's how you chose and got married. That's how you chose things around you. Special design for your house. Because you wanted to see entities. Your mind always wants to associate with entities. It creates entities and it associates with entities. Because it feels that it's an entity. When you feel that you are a separate person, then you need others to be separated. Then you can associate with them. Let me ask a question from you. If everyone is the same, what do you feel about this world? If everyone, I would say if everyone were the same. Because this is impossible. Okay? But it is possible. It is. It is, but we can't perceive it as it is. But my question is, if everything is the same, what do you feel about the world? Monotonous? So boring? Look at our Anagarikas. They all wear white dresses, and you all. It's so monotonous. But if they wear colorful dresses, then perhaps they will be very beautiful. That's how you think. This is monotonous. Everyone is the same. Let's assume that their faces are also the same. Now you feel that this world is so boring because your mind always wants to perceive new things, separate things, entities, different things. That's why you can't visit the same place over and over again when you go on holiday. Your mind wants to perceive different things. That's why you can't eat the same food over and over again. Even though that is your favorite food, you can't eat it over and over again. You always look for different things. You means actually the ignorant mind. The ignorant mind always look for different things because it needs to perceive entities. It needs to perceive entities. Taste should be different. Colors should be different. That's why you can create, one day you can create white rice, and the other day you can create yellow rice, and you can put some mango there, and you can put mango rice, and you can put some lemon there. Then you can cook lemon rice. Actually, you can eat them as they are completely separated items. You never ever felt that you were so foolish? Am I correct? Because white rice, yellow rice, lemon rice, mango rice, these things. Because you felt that they are different, and perhaps you felt that you are so posh because you eat different things in different meals. I think you never felt that you were so foolish. Because the mind, which is ignorant, doesn't want to think like that. It's so happy by experiencing different things. That's why the mind wants to experience different things. That's why the mind wants to create different things. That's why you need an architect to create, to build new houses, new types of houses, various designs. When you see those things, then you can be admired by looking at, oh, this is Roman architecture, this is British architecture. Don't you do that? Because it's different. That's why you go on holiday and you visit those places. Just to see bricks and cement. But they are different. They look different. They look like entities, different entities. Therefore, the mind likes it. Until you understand the truth, you will keep visiting these places, Sachin. You will waste your money. When I say you will waste your money, you know that behind your money, what was it? Your life. You have to use your life to earn money. You have to use your life to protect your money. You have to use your life to spend your money. Always you have to use your life. That's why I really want you to understand the Dhamma and save your life. Otherwise you will waste it. Perhaps you have a few years. We never know. Perhaps a few days, a few minutes. I want you to save that. But if you want to see something, I can't save you, because you will see it. Until that, you will work hard to see that, to perceive it. That's the nature of your mind. When it is vexed, it is blind. It can't see anything after that. It can't be virtuous at that time, when it is vexed. When that vexation comes to a certain level, perhaps it doesn't see the mother. It can easily destroy the mother. Therefore, a vexed mind is so dangerous, Sachin. That's why you can't trust anyone in this world. Even you can't trust your father. Even you can't trust your mother. But when I say that, I know it has a huge weight. But again, I'm telling you, you are talking about a mind. You are not talking about a father, you are not talking about a mother. You are talking about mind. When the mind is vexed, it will do anything to come out of vexation. Therefore, if you want to be happy, there's only one way. Somehow, you need to stop vexation. You have to stop wanting. When you have a wanting, because I said that you have to stop wanting, because actually wanting is a process. You have to stop that. That's the only way. Otherwise, you can have a truckload of money, but still, you will suffer. Perhaps you can go to heaven, and you will get things very quickly. Very quickly. Whatever you need, it appears in front of you. That's why people always want to go to heaven. Actually, why do you want to go to heaven? Because your mother is there, or No. When you have a human life, and if you want to achieve anything, you have to work hard to achieve that. But you heard that in heaven, whatever you want, it appears in front of you quickly. You know that sooner the better. When you are vexed, sooner the better. Therefore, you prefer to go to heaven rather than staying in the human birth. We need to understand that, ladies and gentlemen. You want to go to heaven because you are vexed. If you are not vexed, then you don't have to go to heaven. You can stay with us. That's another way. You try to make up your mind. I will go to heaven and I will have everything. Now here you are a beggar. You are a beggar, you don't have money, but even though you are a beggar, or I would say not even you are a beggar or a rich person, your mind is vexed. When your mind is vexed, you need to do something to come out of vexation. That's why perhaps you want to be rich, because you can experience something you wanted quicker than a beggar. That's why having money is better. But if you can go to heaven, it's even better, because you don't need money, you don't have to work hard to earn money. Whatever you need, it will appear in front of you. Then you can use it and be happy. Be happy? No, I had to add another word. You can try to be happy. You will have whatever you want when you go to heaven, and you can use them and try to be happy. I'll explain to you these things. In our last sermon, we were talking about how the ego is created. Because the mind exists, the body exists. But how the ego exists? How does the ego exist? This is the problem. Because of that, we perceive entities. Because of that, we have expectations. Because of that, we are vexed. Because of that, we had to go to school. If you hate, at least think about that. If you had to go to school again, then you will come to the monastery and try to attain Nibbana. We had to earn money because we wanted to come out of vexation. That was the only thing we had, only path we had. It happened due to ignorance. Ignorance is Nicca Sukha Atta. Last time we were talking about that. Nicca Sukha Atta. That is ignorant. That is ignorance. Nicca Sukha Atta. If your mind believes that everything is Nicca Sukha Atta, now the mind wants to experience Nicca Sukha Atta things. It's okay if the world is Nicca Sukha Atta. Because if the universe is Nitya Sukha Atta, you can perceive it easily. But if nature or the universe is Anicca Dukkha Anatta, that means the completely opposite. To what you thought, now you can't solve the matter. Because you can't change the world. You can't change nature. You can cut down trees. Last time I told you can cut down trees and make a industrial zone if you want. But you can't change nature. If you want to change something, you have to change its characteristics. We always change things by changing its characteristics. I can change you to a monk. I had to change your characteristics. I had to change your character. When I change your character, eventually you will become a monk. To change something, we need to change characteristics. In that case, if you try to change nature, you have to change nature's characteristics. Cutting down some trees doesn't mean that you change nature's characteristics. You can't change them. Nature has its own characteristics, which is called Anicca Dukkha Anatta. You can't change them. Whatever you make, that is anicca. Whatever you deal with, that is anicca. In that case, you can see, if you build something, actually that is also nature. That's why I told you, don't take that a tree is nature and your house is not nature. Everything is nature, because everything is made up of the basic energy. Therefore, everything is nature. That basic energy has three main characteristics: anicca, dukkha, and anatta. Therefore, when you use that energy and build anything, that has the same characteristics. Therefore, everything is anicca, dukkha, anatta. Whatever you see, whatever you associate with, anicca, dukkha, anatta. They are anicca, dukkha, anatta. But the problem is, in your mind, you can't accept that. You can't accept that because you have been practicing a wrong theory. I don't know how did it come to your mind, our mind. I didn't know that. But however, it came to our mind after the Buddha. When we understood the Dhamma, then we knew that was ignorance. Until that, we didn't know that it is ignorance. When we came to know about anicca, dukkha, anatta, we came to know about ignorance, which is Nitya Sukha Atta. Perhaps for some of your friends, perhaps for most of your friends, that is the truth. Nitya Sukha Atta is the truth. They don't know about ignorance. If you say that you are ignorant, then they will blame you. I'm not ignorant, I have 2 PhDs. Because they don't know about the specific ignorance we are talking about. Because they don't have ignorance, and they don't have 2 things called ignorance and wisdom. They only have wisdom. For them, that is wisdom. That's what we thought. We didn't have any problem with this. Until we listened to the Dhamma, we didn't have 2 things, we only had 1. We thought that we were so intelligent, so wise. That's why we wanted to conquer the world. We didn't know about ignorance. We thought that we were so wise. But after listen to the Dhamma, then we came to know that there are two things. One is wisdom, the other thing is ignorance. That's why I told you at the beginning, you should know what is ignorance and what is wisdom. If you don't know about the characteristics of nature, then you think that Nicca Sukha Atta is wisdom. If it is wisdom, actually that's also fine. If it is wisdom, then you think that everything is an entity and entities are there, then I am also an entity, I associate with these entities. Suffering is normal, happiness is normal, pleasure is normal, vexation is normal. That's how you used to be. When you were vexed, you had to do something. When you were suffering, you cried. When you didn't want to do anything, you didn't want to understand anything because you didn't think that there were anything to understand. You didn't think about it. Perhaps you wanted to meditate at that time. When you wanted to meditate, you go and sat under a tree and you meditated. Because you didn't know that you had to understand something. Because you thought that you have wisdom and you just need to meditate, you need to practice. That's what some people do, ladies and gentlemen, when they want to attain Nibbana, which means when they want to achieve their salvation, perhaps they go to a forest and start meditating. Then they think that by meditating they can purify their mind. But I'm telling you, you need to understand something because you need to clarify what is wisdom and what is ignorance. Well, first of all, you should know that there are two things called wisdom and ignorance. But the thing is, how do you clarify that? Perhaps what you were thinking was correct. Everything is Nicca Sukha Atta. How do we know? That's why I told you, you need to apply the Dhamma. When I say no, everything is Anicca Dukkha Anatta, okay, we can't reject that because you tell that, okay, we will take it, but don't take it blindly. Take it and apply it. That's why we always ask you to apply and show you the path to apply. That's why we take examples and let you apply into those examples. If you realize that everything is Anicca Dukkha Anatta, you will be free. Again, I tell you that. How do you know? Practice and see. That's what you need to do. That's the only thing you need to do. You can't use my path. You can't use my wisdom. We all can use our same knowledge. This is same knowledge we are talking about. We can use same knowledge and we can convert knowledge to wisdom. Finally, you will see a path. That's your own path, ladies and gentlemen. You can move forward on that path. This is what we are going to do. Now here you can see ignorance is there. Ignorance, which means the mind thinks that everything is Nicca Sukha Atta. Then we need to find out about it. Is everything Nicca? Then before that we need to understand what is Nicca. We need to understand what Nicca is. Nicca. Let's simplify this. We were talking about that energy, the basic energy. That energy is used to create everything. Electrons, protons, neutrons. We can start from there because you all know about that. That energy is used to create an electron, a proton, a neutron. Then after that, atoms, ions, compounds, all these things. Now, that energy doesn't have a tendency to create anything, to manifest anything. It is neutral. That's the first thing you should know. But this is wisdom I'm talking about. That means that is the truth I'm talking about. But the ignorant mind believes that the energy has a natural tendency to manifest things. That means the ignorant mind thinks that it is not neutral, it is biased. But the truth is that energy is not biased, it is neutral. It doesn't want to manifest anything, it doesn't want to create anything. If it doesn't want to create anything, how does this form? What about your body? Now we can see things manifest. But energy doesn't have that characteristic. In that case, you should understand the third party comes to the manifestation. The third party is, what is the third party? Attachment. That means actually some kind of attraction force. Some attraction force must be created to create entity-like things, I will say, because I can't say that to create entities, because this is not an entity. This is only a manifestation. This is only a manifestation. Therefore, we can't use the word entity for these things. But that's how we feel. That's how the ignorant mind feels. This is not an entity. This is a compound, I would say. This is a compound. To create that compound, we need to accumulate those, or accumulate energy. To accumulate energy, we need an attraction force. That attraction force is created by attachment. With that attraction force, anicca things can be dukkha. Anicca, when I had to use anicca things. But when I say anicca things, you just neglect that thing part. But I had to use them because this is a language, ladies and gentlemen. Whatever the language we use, we have to talk about subjects, objects. Without those things, we can't use the language. Anyway, therefore, anicca things are converted to dukkha. Dukkha means not the suffering we are talking about. dukkha, which is compound, anicca things converted. Again, I can't use that word also, but I use it because you can't convert anything, because to convert something there should be something there. If it is only a manifestation, you can't convert it. But again, I'm going to use the word. Then anicca things are converted to dukkha. Dukkha means a compound. Let's assume that energy, this is energy, and this energy doesn't have any tendency to create anything. It is not biased, it is anicca. But when you apply an attraction force, then it converts to dukkha. That means it takes a shape, because now it has an attraction force. Therefore, it has a shape now, and it can create colors in your mind, because it has that ability now, because that attraction force, which is some kind of energy, attraction energy, we would say attraction energy is there. Because of that energy, it can create colors in your mind, it can create taste in your mind, because of that energy. But if you take this energy, this is neutral, this can't create anything in your mind. Colors are created in your mind due to energy. That energy comes to the dukkha. I use the word dukkha, this compound, come to the dukkha by that attraction force or attraction energy. If you take this energy, the basic energy we were talking about, this doesn't have that quality, that characteristic. It is neutral. You can't see this, you can't taste this, you can't touch this. But when this is converted to a dukkha, now you can touch this. Touch this means actually touch is created in your mind because of that energy. Not the basic energy I'm talking about, the energy which is created because of attachment. That's why in Pali, if something is anicca, and if anicca things I can't use that. How can I say that? Can I use it in Pali? If anicca things, paticca, because there is no verb called paticca in English, I think. If anicca thing is paticca, then dukkha is created. Anicca, paticca, and dukkha. And anicca things, paticca means there is a process. Let's assume that it is a process, paticca, process. When anicca goes through the process of paticca, then dukkha is created. This dukkha is this. This is anicca. That energy is anicca, and the energy which is created by attachment is applied to this, then paticca is created. That incident occurs. Then anicca things go through the process of paticca, then dukkha is created. This is dukkha we are talking about. Now, this dukkha with this dukkha you can perceive things. But with this energy you can't perceive anything. But now you can perceive because attachment wanted to make the mind perceive something. Because the mind was ignorant. Due to ignorance, attachment was created. Due to ignorance, attachment was created. That means when the mind believes that everything is nicca, sukha, atta, that is called ignorance. Everything is nicca, sukha, atta, attachment is created. That attachment is created just to perceive. In order to perceive something, you have to create it. You means the mind has to create it. Then using that force or the energy, that attraction energy, dukkha was created. Now the mind can perceive this. The mind can see this. Because of that energy, attraction energy, I would say, that attraction, because both are energy. One is neutral, the other one is that is created from attachment. Therefore, it is not neutral. It has some kind of attraction characteristic. In this case, attraction means not attraction. I'm talking about that. It's really difficult for me to find words for these things, ladies and gentlemen. Wait, let's go through again. Okay. Now here, this energy is neutral. That is the basic energy of the universe. Actually, the universe is this. It is neutral. That's what we will understand. It is neutral. And due to attachment, another type of energy is created, but that energy is biased. Because that energy is created by ignorance and attachment. Ignorance has designs because it believes that everything is an entity. If everything is an entity, it must have designs because they are entities. When they are entities, they must have designs, shapes, different qualities. Therefore, now attachment wants to create something to perceive. That's why it creates that attraction energy. I use that name, attraction energy. Let's say that. Because of that attraction energy, dukkha is created. Therefore, now it has a shape. And the mind can perceive it. Because to perceive, the mind has to create something. That's what happened here. If the mind wants to if the mind wants to perceive colors, the mind has to create colors. To create colors, the mind has to create a dukkha. Your eyes are dukkha. The mind has created it. And this pen is a dukkha. The mind has created it. Therefore, now the mind can perceive this by using your eyes. This is a dukkha which is created by the mind. Why the mind? Actually the ignorant mind. The ignorant mind wants to see a different world or different things actually. Because of that, because of its belief. If everything is an entity, then everything should be separate. Therefore, now this is a dukkha and this is blue color. And this is also a dukkha. This is red color. Now you can see this is blue, this is red, but both of them are created by using this energy. Therefore, this is neutral, this is also a neutral. But here, now when I use red color to show you the attraction force or attraction energy. Now this attraction energy is applied, therefore now this is created and this is created. Now you can see red color or you can perceive red color and you can perceive blue color as well. And if you want, you can perceive a taste. This is how you can create different things. But even though these things are created, here you can see energy. This is full of energy. This is also full of energy. You can perceive differently, but whatever the basic thing that used to create this is the basic energy. Therefore, wherever you see, you only see basic energy. But you can perceive different things. You can perceive different things because of this attraction force. Due to this attraction force, now different dukkhas, have been created. That's why your body is a different dukkha. Why do we say it's a dukkha? Because it's not an entity. It is just this energy. The energy mixed with attraction energy. Because of that, now you can perceive blue color and it has a different taste and it has a different odor, therefore, or different texture, therefore you think that this is an entity and it is completely different from this. If you take these two pens, the only difference you will see is the color. But the color is created in your mind because of this attraction energy. Because the mind wanted to perceive something different, therefore the mind created it. Then mind creates something and perceive it. The mind has to do this over and over again to live. That's called life. The mind creates new things. How can you create new things like lemon rice and those rice we were talking about? Let's listen. Now we have rice. We have a plate of rice. Let's say. Now, if you want to make it different, what should you do? Will you change rice? Because rice is basic. That's the basic thing you have, rice. A plate of rice, okay. Now, if you want to change, what do you do? If you want to see that, or if you want to make rice different, what should you do? You can't create rice from metal. You don't touch rice, ladies and gentlemen. What you do is, you add flavors. You add colors into that. Colors means you add some chemicals. That is responsible for you to see colors. Dyes, pigments, you can use those names. You add those things into that. Then if something is red and sour, it is different. If something is yellow and sour, it is different. If something is red and bitter, it is different. Color is the same, but taste is different. Therefore, it is different. This is how you change things, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to create a different entity, what should you do? You change something. What do you change actually? There are 6 senses. If you can change one, then you can create new one. Then if you want to paint your house, then you use different colors. For your son's house, or son's room, perhaps you apply blue color. What about your daughter? Pink. Then by applying different paints, then you created 2 separate rooms. Then everybody thinks that this room is different to this. And you also believe the same. If they want to change the room, what should you do? If they want to change the room, their rooms, what should they do? You just need to repaint it. Now it is the pink room becomes blue room. Now it is for boys. Now you can interpret it. It is for boys because blue color is for boys. Pink is for girls. You have your different interpretations. Therefore, now you can see, if you want to change, you never change this energy, ladies and gentlemen. You can't change this energy. What you change is your perception. When you change your perception, you think that it is different. Therefore, you keep changing. You keep changing energy. You apply energy into this and you try to create different things because you strongly believe that everything is different. Everything is Nicca Sukhatta. If everything is Nicca Sukhatta, now attachment is created and this energy, this red color energy is created and make dukkha's. By associating with dukkha, you can get more perception. You can perceive colors, you can perceive taste, you can perceive smell. If they are different, that is different. That's how you believe. These two pens are different because one is red, another one is blue. That's how you believe. But you know that this is plastic and this is also plastic. But you can't think like that because you perceive blue and red. Therefore, actually, you can't perceive that, or you can't think that these two are the same. Try to forget the color and tell me. Forget the color, ladies and gentlemen, and tell me about these two pens. Are they the same or not? They are the same, ladies and gentlemen. They are the same, but you can perceive a color. When you perceive a color, that color is different, therefore you think that these two are different. When you see a human being, perhaps you think that someone is fair and someone is black. Someone is white, someone is black, and people fight for that. Because of the perception. But both bodies are the same. That is made up of this energy, which is neutral, totally neutral. Therefore, the body is totally neutral. Actually, that energy doesn't want to create anything. The mind wanted that. Therefore, the mind creates attachment. Due to attachment, this energy was created. With that energy, this was accumulated. This was condensed. And a dukkha is created. But remember this. In this dukkha, what can you find? Only energy. Only neutral energy can be found in this dukkha. That's why it's called dukkha. It's not an entity, it's not a unique thing. It is the dukkha. It is full of energy. It is neutral. Still it is neutral, ladies and gentlemen, but you can perceive different things. By taking that ability, you try to use, you try to think that everything is different to everything. When you see that, then you believe that everything is separated. That means everything is sukha. Everything is separated and everything is special. Atta. By seeing these two, by perceiving these two, you believe that these two are separated. These two are separate, and these two are unique, these two are special. This is special, this is special. Therefore, you believe that this is atta, and these two are sukha, which means these two are not compound, these two are fixed objects. Because this is blue, ladies and gentlemen, therefore this must be completely different to this. Don't you feel that when you see a white person and a black person, then don't you see that, oh, this person is white, completely opposite to this person? That's how you believe, ladies and believe means that's how you perceive. When you see these two pens, that's how you perceive. You think that this is red. That means you feel that this is entirely red. That means red is completely different to blue. Don't you feel that way? Can you be able to think that these two have some similarities? Can you believe that? by seeing these two colors. Don't use chemistry. If you use chemistry, you know that, oh, this is carbon, hydrogen, hydrogen. No, don't use that. But looking at this, by looking at this, you can see this is red and this is blue, and at the same time you feel that these two are completely different. You can't use this to create this, you can't use this to create this. That's how you feel about your body and your mind, ladies and gentlemen. You feel that you can't use your body to create someone else's body. You can't use someone else's body to create your body. Because you two are completely different. This is how you feel because you are white and other one is black. When you have yellow rice and white rice, you think that, oh, these two are completely different things. Therefore, I can't eat yellow rice today. I need to eat white rice. Someone says, I need to use yellow rice because I don't like white rice. Because you feel that these two are entities and completely different. You don't like bitter. The bitter taste. Do you like bitter taste? You don't like. Then if something is bitter, then you think that it's completely different. Bitterness is created in your mind, ladies and gentlemen. It is created in your mind. But let's assume that you have some rice, but it's bitter. Then when you perceive that bitter taste or bitterness, then there is a natural tendency in your mind to believe that it is completely different. That's what we need to understand. Otherwise, we always be deceived with these things. That tendency is there. That tendency is there because of ignorance. Because we used to believe that everything is nicca sukha atta. If something is nicca, that is sukha. If something is sukha, that is atta. Therefore, when we see something different, then we strongly believe that these two are completely separate. Now, when you see black and white, if you feel that they are completely different, how can you see how can you see a woman in a man, a man in a woman? Then how can you see a human being in a tree? A tree in a human? How can you see nature is everything? If you want to see that, you should be able to see anicca dukkha anatta. This energy is neutral. It doesn't have any tendency to create anything. With that attraction energy, dukkha is created. This dukkha has the characteristic of anicca. This dukkha is anicca because this energy is anicca. Therefore, this dukkha is also anicca, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, you can't find any entities in this world. This is not an entity. This is a dukkha. Try to understand that. This is a compound. Don't take the chemistry meaning. Otherwise you will say, of course, this is a compound because this is plastic. Plastic is a compound. This is a compound. Sodium is a compound. Hydrogen is a compound. An electron is a compound. When you take an electron, it has different characteristics than proton. Because it's a dukkha. When you create a dukkha, the mind can perceive different characteristics. Let's take an example. These two pens, they have different colors. Okay, now without using your mind, prove that they have different colors. Without using your mind, prove that they have different colors. Can you? No. Because colors are created in your mind and you perceive it. The mind perceives it. If you take only these two pens, they are the same. Then if you can neglect all the perceptions, now try to define the world. Let's try to see the world without a mind. That is the world. That is the universe. Then you will only see condensed energy in everywhere. That is called string theory. And in string theory, that's what they are going to find. That's what they are going to prove. The condensed energy. This object is condensed energy. Energy is condensed here. Why? Due to that attraction energy, which is created by attachment. That's how condensed energy exists. Now the mind can perceive things and believes that this is an entity and this is so special because it's red. Therefore, when you get married, you need to think about the color. Then it is called racism. The mind has been distorted completely, ladies and gentlemen. But it is the most pure thing. It is the purest thing in the world. But due to ignorance, the mind can't see the truth. The mind can't perceive the truth. It perceives entities. When it perceives entities, it loves entities. Therefore, it wants to create entities. Therefore, it wants to separate the world. It doesn't want to see a united world. It wants to separate them. That's why people try to separate you. They don't want to unite you. They don't want to consider you as their family. They want the separation. Then the mind can be happy. Because the mind thinks that whenever the mind perceives entities, the mind can be happy. Here, due to ignorance, the mind has a wanting to perceive nitya, sukha, atta something. Something that is nitya, sukha, atta. Whatever it is, but it should be nitya, sukha, atta. Because the mind strongly believes that everything is nitya, sukha, atta. Therefore, because of ignorance, the mind has that expectation to perceive something that is Nitya Sukhatha. When the mind wants to perceive that Nitya Sukhatha, the mind has to create. That's why attachment is created and create the world. Now, if you think that God created the world, of course, but God is attachment. Attachment creates that force to create dukkha's. These are dukkha's. That is God. And the mind believes that everything is separate and everything is unique, therefore the mind has unique shapes. That's why a human being has a shape. If I draw a human being like that, you can say that no, this is not a human being and this is what? This is an ant, I would say. There is an ant. And how can I draw a human being like this? Is it not a human being? No, because you know that if each entity has its own shape. In that case, you can see ignorance has its own shapes, unique identities. Therefore, ignorance is the architect of the universe. And attachment is God. I'm not talking about Almighty God. I'm talking about God. I don't want to discriminate, but I want you to understand this. The mind creates things to perceive things. Otherwise, the mind can't perceive anything. Therefore, ignorance and attachment is the parents of the universe. Ignorance is the architect and attachment is the mason. It creates the universe. But even though the mind wants to create it, the mind can't create fixed things. The mind can only create. The ignorant mind, I will say, the ignorant mind wants to create entities, but it can't create entities. It can only create dukkha's. This is not fixed. This doesn't have its own characteristics. This is not unique. And this doctrine is so hard to explain and to understand. But we will keep talking about this. You can keep listening about this. And one day you will realize, because this is very deep. And this is very easy if you can realize it. Now you ask me to explain by using words. But the thing is, the kingdom of God is not coming with signs to be observed. Jesus Christ once said. The kingdom of God, which is the truth is not coming with signs to be observed. Therefore, whatever the word I utter here, it doesn't have the meaning of my understanding. That's why it's really difficult, not only for me, to everyone, to explain this. But don't think that this doctrine is hard. Actually, this doctrine is not hard. Once you understand this, then it will be so easy, because that's your understanding, and you will realize the world. But to understand that, you need to listen and understand. That's why to practice that, you need to listen and understand. That's catch-22. You need to understand it. Then it will be easy. But the hardest part is to understand it. But anyhow, at least try to understand this. The universe is nature. Even though you can perceive dukkha's, even though you can perceive entities, they are not entities, they are dukkha's. They are dukkha's, they are not fixed. They are not fixed and they are not entities. They are dukkha's. If you remove this attraction force, then it will be as it was. But now it was condensed. Because the world must be created. The world must be created to perceive. To whom? To the ignorant mind. To the ignorant mind, it wants, because the ignorant mind, which means, we can use the other word, the ego. The ego wants to perceive the world. Therefore, the ego creates the world. The ego means the ignorant and attached mind. That means the mind which has attachment and ignorance in it. Therefore, the ego wants to create the world to perceive the world. Now, the ego thinks that by perceiving the world, the ego can exist. That's why the ego wants just to perceive whatever it is. At least the ego wants to perceive. Let's assume that. The ego is in hell. Now it is burning. And it's suffering physically a lot. At least at that time. The ego should be able to have a wanting to attain Nibbana. Because it's suffering there. Do you really think that? If we go to hell and ask, hands up those who want to attain Nibbana, we will preach you the Dhamma. I don't think anyone will raise their hand. The ego is ready to go to hell rather than go to or pass into Parinibbana. Because the ego wants to perceive. When the ego wants to perceive, the ego creates the world. Therefore, this is a creation of the ego. Therefore, the ego loves this. The ego wants to perceive this and perceive this. The ego wants to associate with these things. These are called jati dhamma. The ego is called jati, and these are called jati dhamma. Jati loves jati dhamma, which means the ego loves separate entities. But in the reality, these things are not separated. In the reality, this is the same energy we are talking about. Does that make sense to you at least a bit? Or it's as clear as mud? Perhaps you think that I missed the last chance to attain Nibbana. From now onward I don't want to attain Nibbana because this is so hard. Actually this is not hard. Again, I'm telling you, this is not hard. Let's try to understand this. When you understand this, then you will see yourself in a tree. Not. If you can see that, if you can see or perceive, if you can perceive that a tree is a manifestation, your body is a manifestation, this pen is a manifestation, then you can't say this is a pen and that is a tree, if it is only a manifestation. That's the same energy. Therefore, don't be deceived with perception, color perception and all these perceptions. Don't be deceived. Look at the object and try to see energy in it. Anicca dukkha anatta, energy in it. That is energy. These two are the same. By saying that, I don't want you to take these two and say these are the same, these are the same, these are the same, these are the same. This is not the practice you have to do. I want you to understand it. I want you to understand that this is made up of energy, this is also made up of energy. And that energy is not fixed, this is not an entity, this is a dukkha. That energy is gathered. Energy is gathered. We can use various words. However, I want you to understand the basic. Energy is gathered. Energy is gathered. And in between these two, here, what is here? That energy is there, ladies and gentlemen. Energy is there, and here some air particles are there. That air particle means again gathered energy, condensed energy. Condensed energy, everywhere you can find condensed energy. But you can't see them. You can't see them. But if we can add some coloring into that, if we can add some pigments into that, then you will see. Then here there is an air particle, and here also there is an air particle, but you can't see these two. But if we add some pigments into that, you will see, and you will comment that this is an entity and this is also an entity. But now you can't see them, therefore perhaps you think that, oh, everything is the same. Now, what do you feel about this air, ladies and gentlemen? This air. What do you feel? Do you feel that it's same or different? What do you feel? Most of the time you feel that, oh, it's same. Until you see that. Let's talk about bacteria. Can you see bacteria? No. Therefore, when someone says, oh, bacteria is grown here, then do you think that different kind of bacteria are there, or just bacteria? When you say bacteria, like same kind of bacteria is there. But if you see them, then you will see different shapes. Then you will perceive that they are different. What I wanted to say, what I wanted to tell was, actually, this is the wrong perception. You have a interpreter who interprets things wrong. That's the ignorant mind. What you see is correct. When you see me, you see some colors, but you don't see a person. You can't see a person. You can't see a pen. You only see some colors here. When you see these colors, now the job of eyes is done. Now the translator comes in action and it translates the data completely wrong. Because it believes that everything is nitya sukha, but when you see this, our eyes will get things into the mind as anicca dukkha anatta. Because eyes can see the truth. The mind can't see the truth because it is ignorant. But your eyes can't be ignorant, but the mind can be ignorant. But the mind is the translator. Therefore, whatever eyes take in is translated or interpreted by the mind. Therefore, whenever you perceive something, you perceive an entity. When you perceive yourself as an entity, two different things. You perceive yourself as an entity and something as an entity. Therefore, you strongly believe that everything is an entity. Even the Buddha comes to you and says the same thing, you will believe that everything is an entity because you experience it. Each time you experience it. To come out of this problem, you need to understand the truth and try to apply it. If you don't apply, you will perceive things. If you don't apply the truth, then you will apply the untruth, the wrong things. Therefore, you need to apply the truth all the time. When you apply the truth, at that time you will see the truth. But if you forget to apply, again you will see entities in the world. When you see entities, ignorance will be strengthened because you experienced it. But when you keep applying the Dhamma into your life, then you can strengthen your wisdom and you can reduce the power of ignorance. You can suppress it and you can improve your wisdom. To improve your wisdom, you need to apply the Dhamma. You need to realize it. That's what I told you. If you forget, then this will take the ownership. But if you can apply the Dhamma, then you can improve wisdom. When you improve wisdom, eventually you won't forget. When your wisdom is powerful, now no one has to tell you to apply the Dhamma. When you live, you apply. But right now, someone has to tell them to apply the Dhamma. That's why you need Kalyana Mitta, noble friends. They will encourage you to apply the Dhamma. When you go to the society, again you will forget. You will forget and you will perceive entities. The mind wants to perceive entities anyway. Therefore, the mind perceives entities. And ignorance will be strengthened when you come next week. Perhaps you will be even more ignorant than before. But you know the truth. You just know the truth. Therefore, someone can know the truth and destroy the world. Perhaps you have seen some people, they can talk the Dhamma, talk the Buddha's doctrine perfectly, but they can't practice. Their actions betray them. Because they have knowledge, they don't have wisdom. Because they didn't practice. Therefore, I want you to practice. When you practice, actually, eventually, you will see the truth. Initially, it is hard because this is inertia. Inertia applies everywhere. When you start something, it's hard. Therefore, perhaps you will give up because this is hard and you will give up. And perhaps you can say, one day you can say that I have been practicing this for 6 years. It's a lie. It's a lie. How can you say that you have been practicing this for 6 years? If you sleep 6 hours per day, after that 6 years, 1.5 years are wasted just for sleeping. You didn't practice 6 years. You can't practice 6 years. You can't practice it for 6 years. You just practice whenever you can remember. Therefore, if you say that if you have been practicing this for 6 years, perhaps you have been practicing this for like 2 days. But it will improve eventually. Because naturally you can't practice this. Forcefully you had to do that at the beginning. Forcefully means actually you had to remind that to yourself, oh, I need to practice. Because this is new. It's like when you listen to the Dhamma, and let's assume that you become a Sri mentor. When you become a Sri mentor, actually like you hire a new translator who translates things correctly. But the previous one is a fraud. He always translates things wrongly. But now, once you become a Sri mentor, now you have a new translator. Therefore, if you use him, you can see the truth. Remember this. Only if you use him, you can see the truth. Otherwise, your old man, your old guy will work for you all the time, because he has been working for you for infinite number of eons. Therefore, he has the power. Therefore, he always takes the first chance. If you forcefully ask your new translator to translate this. Therefore, whatever you see, whatever you smell, whatever you hear, all these things are true, ladies and gentlemen, but when you translate it, you will get the wrong perception. Let's use the Dhamma. Try to see anicca dukkha anatta. Whatever you perceive, try to see anicca dukkha anatta in them. And let's give the chance to new translator. If he can work for you, then you will attain Nibbana very soon. But you need to give him the chance to translate. Therefore, listen to the Dhamma and apply. Listen to the Dhamma and apply. Try to understand these things, but these things are a little bit deep. But I think you can understand. I think. Because this is understandable. This is not like very hard, because this is not rocket science. And let's try. And try to see the reality of these two. Try to see reality of black and white. One day come and tell me that you can't see any difference between black and white, which means a black person and a white person. But right now you feel that they are totally different. Totally different. I don't have words to explain how different they are. That's how you feel. They are totally different. When you take two people, you feel they are totally different. And one day you will see that they are the same. That's your journey. Now you can see the destination, and here you are. Now let's begin your journey. Journey to salvation. Journey to become nature. I'll see you next week. May the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem be with you. Thank you.